Thank you so much. I know that it is end of the day, last session. We are all exhausted with a lot of information loading, I understand. And also, I am between you on the happy hour. I also understand that. And I make sure it goes smooth. Okay, thank you so much. So, my name is Anitha Dakamarri. I have 18 years of experience in cybersecurity, mostly into application security, some into network security. I also am a volunteer, active volunteer and contributor and also mentor at IC Square, ISACA and Women in Cybersecurity groups. I also teach high school through TEAL's Microsoft program. I also am active volunteer at Treasured Vessel Foundation, a sex trafficking and human trafficking nonprofit organization based out of Frisco, Texas. That's about me. And today we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff. But before that, I wanted to ask, how many of you working in application security? I know a lot of people here. And how many of you are not part of security at all? Zero security. Anyone? Good. So you all guys know that what we are going to talk today. So I'm going to talk about how AI is going to impact and improve application security. But before that, the reason that I asked how many of you work with application security, because I proudly claim most of the time, always, application security team is the only team, sometimes one of the team in organization, closely working with developers. You have a cybersecurity group, you have an information security team in your organization, you have different teams, right, in your organization, like you have IIM team, you have incident response team, you have cyber defense team, you have threat intelligence team, you have GRC, you have security engineering. They all work with the developers once in a while. Maybe not on regular basis, but application security team is the only security team closely working with the developers, shoulder to shoulder, getting all hate we deserve. That's true. If anyone working in application security, longer than enough, they know that how much heat we get from the developers. It's their frustration and pain points that we understand. So we closely work with them to make sure security is baked into software development lifecycle. So how we bake security into software development lifecycle? So any SDLC you take, you have these basic phases, right? Requirements, design, coding, testing, production, and maintenance. These are the basic phases of any SDLC lifecycle you take. So application security team does each phase, making sure, applying some security things. Like at the requirement phase, we talk about architecture reviews, security architecture reviews, where we talk to developers shoulder to shoulder, asking like, hey, what are you going to develop? Okay, we're going to develop this one. Okay, what are you going to use? We're going to use these software libraries, these database, this is the requirement. So we see that from the security lens and give them some recommendation, suggestions saying, okay, you can use these software libraries, but this application is meant for EU client or some other client. They have a strong privacy laws and protections in place. We are not going to use this database, or we're not going to use these libraries. Some kind of recommendations to make sure security is baked very early of the software development lifecycle. So who all you agree software is baked early means left side of your SDLC. Means shift left happens not at one moment. That's not a one-time thing. Like, you don't like pick up stuff, move it to left and leave it. No, that's not going to work. Shift left happens every time you associate with the developers. You do something at the software development lifecycle each phase. For example, at the design phase, you do threat modeling, right? You take all the architecture flowcharts, data flowcharts, networking flowcharts, end-to-end workflows, and you assume what are the possible attack scenarios. So that's one of you are trying to tightly implement security and fix the bolts and nuts at the early stages so that you can deliver the less vulnerable product at the end. So you are fixing it very, very left side of the SDLC. So for me, shift left is exist, and that's not a one-time thing, that is a continuous thing. And at the coding phase, what we do software, secure code reviews, we do software composition analysis, SCA. Most of us talking about today, right? SCA, source code reviews. And at the testing, we do like dynamic application security testing, we do pre-production penetration testings, and on the production side, we do like, if you have clients that are obligated to do a third-party penetration testing, we do that. So application security team does many things at each phase, so the code requirements are refined at each phase. At the end of the cycle, you can deliver a business fit, security fit, compliant fit product at the end. That's what application security team does. Anyone disagree that? Or anyone wants to add more? So I'm going to talk about how AI is going to impact or improve. Why AI? Because after 2020, there are two things very famous. Anyone you found in this globe, any corner, they can talk about COVID and AI. Even a non-tech guy, even someone who don't have any knowledge about technology, they can talk about two things: your COVID impact and AI impact. A lot of speculation, right? So when I say impact, human tendency to talk impact in a negative way. I'm optimistic, so I see it in two ways, negative and positive. So when I say impact, when I say AI, there are two types of AI. One is Gen AI, everyone talked about it. And there is other one, agentic AI, everyone knows about it, right? So when any application, like if your organization today decided they wanted to implement Gen AI applications in your organization, I have a question, an open question. Confidently, can anyone tell that you guys are ready to handle everything that I talked about, like architecture reviews, threat modelings, source code reviews, DAST, IAST, Pentest, infrastructure security scanning, production penetration testing? Are you guys confident enough that application security teams of your organization are ready to handle Gen AI applications? Anyone? At least one person? Right? That is the impact. When your organization decides to use Gen AI in your regular development life cycles, like after a couple of years, every application that you develop in your organization is a Gen AI application. Believe me, the first people who suffer, not the developers, because they know they get all the support, have to develop Gen AI because that's a client requirement, right? The people who suffer is mostly application security team, because we have a huge skill gap. Anyone knows how to do a penetration testing for a Gen AI application? Really? Thank you. Have you ever done, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. At least one person that is giving hope that we are not going to be that miserable.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yes. So we are still getting adapted. So what is the difference between a traditional application security team and a Gen AI, application security team? So there are a couple. I'm not going to read everything, but I wanted to talk. So in traditional application security team, the collaboration between you and development team is 90%, 99%. That is what it is happening, right? Like you have some findings in source code, you talk to your developers or product owners or engineering leaders. That's what you do. But when it comes to Gen AI, the collaboration is going to change. You have to collaborate with your data science team first. Understand what models they are using, which training data they are using, right? And you're going to interact with the legal and privacy teams because you never know what is the ethical concern of using a Gen AI in your development. So the collaboration is going to change greatly. Application security team is already getting enough hate from developers. They don't like us. So now, get ready for getting more hate from data science teams, legal teams, privacy teams, because you're going to dictate how the Gen AI has to be incorporated or integrated in your development, right? And conventional software is always deterministic, means like you give the same input, you get the same output, right? For example, you have a application which take user input. The output is always expected because the output is already written and prefixed in the database. If it is not getting that output as desired, that's a bug, that's an error, that's a functional error, right? But in Gen AI application, the output is not deterministic. For every input, there will be always a new output. So the application is expected to continuously evolve, continuously develop, and continuously introduce new vulnerabilities and make us no sleep. That's the purpose of whole Gen AI applications. I'm just kidding. But the primary purpose of Gen AI applications is to introduce new vulnerabilities through the new behavioral patterns that is learning, right? Continuously learning, continuously evolving. So the conventional software is always static unless you change something explicitly. Whereas Gen AI is expected to continuously evolve. So your requirements, your design, your source code reviews, your pen testing, everything has to adjust, align with Gen AI. So that is what it is going to impact application security teams. One side, trying to help organization to have Gen AI developed, and one side they are trying to skill up their technical, equations so that they can actually incorporate security best practices in SDLC, which we were talking before. And supply chain is everywhere, right? Supply chain risk exists now in a traditional application security team, but that is primary focus in AI because of the ethical concerns. So that is all the impact that I see. When I say impact, as I mentioned before, in a negative way, that application security teams are not ready enough to handle Gen AI applications within a couple of years when all organizations are going to adopt and develop. Now, how AI is going to improve application security? So I wanted to hear any real story, if you're working with your developers, what is their pain point? What is the primary pain point they complained about us?
So in terms of AI pen testing, my role in pen testing is getting compliant with non-determinism. So when I'm testing AI, I will run my attacks about 6,000 times. They'll run it once.
Okay.
Or they'll run it 6,000 times, but have to run it one more time to get it. So in our scoping as we go into our pen testing with our developers is to get the buy-in. AI is not deterministic. Prompt injection is always the thing. Whereas they think prompt injection is a solvable problem. It's not a solvable problem.
So how did you address that one?
Which point? The non-determinism? Or?
Yes.
So non-determinism, without getting into detail of the vulnerability, because that's still an ongoing thing, is when it comes to non-determinism, I explained my attack vector to them, but also spun it in a architectural way. But the issue is not really the AI. The issue is the architecture behind the AI, as the AI is hitting the backend application that we're trying to do. So rather than explaining that the AI is the issue, it's the actual backend application, because the AI is a trust center. Your AI is no different than sending data to a client on a web browser. Yeah, you're sending data in and out. You cannot trust the data that you send to the AI or the data that's coming out of the AI. And to go down.
It seems like you have a very well-matured strategic implementation of AI in your organization, which is good for you.
I'm on the team developing the entire process.
Nice. Good to know. Good to know. And someone raised to answer what is the primary pain area for developers?
Speed, and we're a road bump.
Right? Yeah, they are humans too, right? I feel for them. I was a former developer, so I feel for them too. Like, other side business, all the time, leadership come and give the budget. Business people come and give the requirements to the developers. But developers are the first line of defense for me. Like, they're the one who actually implements security. They have to understand security in the first, but they are always lost themselves understanding the requirements, fixing the requirements, right? So AI is going to help, AI is going to boost application security, which will help developers greatly so that they don't need to really spend time with us more. Okay, so they can spend more time on the requirements instead of spending. How it is going to happen? AI is going to help greatly in scanning, seamless scanning, fixing code, and very importantly, a rapid feedback loop. That is what it is missing now, right? For example, let's take threat modeling. If we do threat modeling, okay, so let me share a good story around it. Like, when I was passed out, when I was an intern, okay, so I was joined as an intern into a network security group, and we work on data center with new humans. There was just only 5 people, and I was the only girl in the night shift, and everyone is in the morning shift. So we used to work as interns. So my first assessment was a physical security assessment for that particular data center. So my lead told me, do a threat modeling. So I read everything about Google, like, you have to go through your, blueprint, and you have to go through documentation and assume the attack scenario. So what we have done, me and my colleague, we walked through entire building through the night, understand. We literally knocked each door. We know that no one is there. So we knocked each door and found, what exists in that room, how many windows, how many doors. So we counted, and we collected all the information about that particular building to draw something about possible attack scenarios, like, hey, this door has no locks in place, this window is looks like weak, and someone can actually walk in, something like that. So threat modeling current days is the same thing, right? You go through data flow diagrams, end-to-end user workflows, and you go to network flow diagrams, and then you try to collect all information as possible, going through multiple documents, and then you come up with a list of possible things, possible attacks on that particular application. That is what we do, right? You use Stride or you use Pasta, any model. That is what we use. That is what we do most of the time. But with the AI, how it is going to impact or improve? AI is known for what? It is the data guru. It stores like TVs, terabytes of data in its stomach, right? It's in tummy. So AI is going to actually process all the documents instantly and give you the possible attack scenarios. That is going to greatly help application security team, and also we are able to deliver the possible attack scenarios to the developers within the very early stage of SDLC lifecycle. So that's going to help them. And next one is when you do a manual, semi-automated threat modeling, you always check predetermined things. If I ask you, hey, can you just do this threat modeling for this particular web application, what you do? You log into the application, or you imagine that you have a login page, and you're gonna do, okay, there is a login page, there is a username and password. I'm talking about a conventional web application software which exists today. I hope that it will exist forever. So that username password is storing in a database. So the possible attack scenario is being an application security team or security team, a SQL injection, right? A possible attack scenarios here is SQL injections or input validations or something like that. But coming to AI, data poisoning, tampering the model, tampering the trained data, or prompt injections. These are the possible attack scenarios. So along with your applications, your list of things that you have to check is a very comprehensive list. So AI is going to help with autonomous testing, autonomous tools, and equipment. It's going to actually check all the possible attack scenarios instantly and give you the list of things that has to be taken care of. As we talked about it, to do a manual or semi-automated threat modeling that we are doing today, anyone did actually a threat modeling in your web applications? How long it takes for you?
Simple app takes like a week.
A week, right? But poor developers has sprint is 2 weeks. We are stuck with the threat modeling, and after that we do source code reviews, after that we do DAST, after that we do penetration testing. By that time the sprint is over. So they have to fix these things in the next sprint. So who is lacking here? Application security teams are lacking because we don't have enough tools and equipment in place. So AI is going to fix that. So with AI, it is going to be rapid and scalable. So next one is very interesting topic. So secure code reviews or source code reviews. How many of you do secure code reviews or source code reviews? Manually? Anyone did any manual source code reviews? Because they demand. Some customers, some clients contractually obligated to do manual code reviews for this particular application or particular web pages because it contains very sensitive information. If that information leaks, business collapse. So they wanted to do a manual code reviews, right? So how the process happens now? If you have it automated tools, I'm not endorsing any tools here, but I name some tools that we use, checkmarks or Veracode or something like HP45, you must be using all of that. So what you do, you have code repositories, like either your code in Azure DevOps, GitHub, or TFS. Somewhere your code is there. You have a tool, you point this tool to that code repository. This tool has some scan engines. It goes and scans all the million lines of code, 1,000 lines of code, and throw you some result. You take that result as an application security team, you analyze the result, you remove the duplicates and false positives. Then you throw that results to developers with the instant reaction. Have you ever faced that? Recently, I found one of our developer, he ran on us and told us, he cursed the tool. He said I wish your tool is dead because I was sitting all the entire week and I developed this code and you came and said when we have 600 findings, I wish your tool is dead. I understand his frustration, but I couldn't help. I have to sit manually, remove the duplicates, remove the false positives, give the creamy findings of that. But how much big your application security team? You have for example, we have around 500 developers. We are 6 people of application security team. Believe me, how much crushing we are doing now, how much grinding we are doing. I hope that's the same thing, most of the organization, right? You might have 1,000 developers, you might be a big application security team, but you're still 10 people. That's still less. So you have to analyze the result and then throw that result to developers. Developer will fix that result, and that fix is not really easy because the current tools throw a general fix. For example, this function is calling from A to B, so there is a possible of click-zack attack. Please fix it. This is the fix. They give some links, OWSP links or CWE links or some links attached in that result, so that developer has to manually go and check the recommendation and then customize that recommendation to adopt in their code. So they have hundreds of findings to fix. So that feedback, that feedback loop is very, very slow. So anyone here confidently say that you are fixing all source code review findings within that instantly? Not possible. It is not possible, right? It is only possible with the AI. So AI is our superhero here. can fix everything. So with the AI, what's going to happen? So I don't know if anyone noticed, I intentionally mentioned there high false positive 2 times. So that is duplication and high false positives in the traditional, the current software, secure code reviews. So in AI-driven SAST, we have tools that is equipped with AI. So your tool has AI-equipped scan engines, which scans all the million lines of code instantly, maybe like in an hour, maybe like in a minute, and give you a fix that is very customizable or already customized according to your application. So who is going to get benefit from here? Developers. They don't need to sit and do investigation how to fix this one, because now the tool is capable of providing a recommendation that is, which is fully understand the context. So it gives you, I don't know if any one of you, checked AI augmented source code platforms. They give you very detailed saying like, okay, function A is calling function B. So there is a possibility of clickjack. If you fix it, so this is going to fix the shared services or depending modules of the same application 100 times of that. So one fix is going to actually fix like 1,000 findings, 1,000 instances of the same finding. So that kind of level AI going to provide, that's going to save a lot of time. So rapid feedback, deep context, and intelligent insights. So the most important thing that I wanted you to work out is today, AI going to improve developer experience. It's going to make application security team life easy. Next, we have heard a lot of times SBOM today, right? Software bill of materials. So anyone implementing SBOM in your organizations currently? You guys, I know, because you work for reversing labs, right? No?
No, I work for Align Technology.
Oh, nice. So you already implementing SBOM?
I mean, we don't have a good solution for generating an SBOM right now.
Okay, you're searching for the good solution?
Yes.
So anyone understood the importance role of SBOM? Yes, please. Yes.
So there are legislative requirements for it. There's more and more of those on the way. UK has already implemented them. In certain spaces, it's required. A lot of financial institutions are making it a requirement for their software, etc. So it's not regulatory, customer. But an SBOM, very perspective, also helps us because we know what's in that software, and we can always refer to the SBOM.
Yes, exactly. You're saying something, sir.
Yeah, I think it's required by the government, right? So for like most companies where you have like third-party vendors, so it's required, right? So you can save yourself from like lawsuits, audits.
If you are only working for a federal agency, that is mandated in 2021 because there is a bill passed by the government, that you have to implement SBOM, because SBOM is going to helpful in situations like Log4j. Previous in this session, I know the lady, she was talking about Log4j. I don't know, 3 years ago, when me and my husband is standing over there and taking cool pictures. Otherwise, he's not going to get the dinner. So, so we packed everything for Colorado trip, and we were ready. I almost log off, my system, and my team also taking off. We were so excited for the holidays, and then Log4j hit. We thought it is maybe that not big, but it was too big. Within couple hours, that particular vulnerability evolved like a devil, right? So what you guys done? I don't know what you done. We were literally rumbled on the floor. We cried because all the developers, most of the developers are on vacations. It's in the end of the day. So me and my team literally went through all the hundreds of repos, find out where is Log4j existed, make the list of it, reached out the owners, called them and asked, can you please update? We got pushback from the leadership saying, like, from the product owners and engineering leadership, like, you can't call people on a vacation. I said, like, your attacker's not going to wait. They don't want to, like, okay, people are on vacation, I'm not going to exploit it. They don't do that. They don't have heart. They have only mind. They want to just exploit it. So we explained in a way that they can understand. So SBOM is going to help in that situations, right? Like, and if you have SBOM is like a list of things, list of proprietary and third-party open source libraries that is used in your application. So SBOM integrates in a CI/CD, go through your manifest files in code repos, understand what are the software libraries used in that particular application, in that particular build when it is deployed, make a list of it, and show you what are the findings, what are the CVEs, critical CVEs or critical findings in that libraries. But unfortunately, yes, please.
I just had a question, because SBOMs have a lot of false positives, because it doesn't tell you if you're using that vulnerable function. Right? So how is that going to help us when all we're doing is generating the same thing we're generating with AR or without? It's not sounding like log4j, right? I was there for log4j. We had log4j, but we didn't use the vulnerable function, so we were fine. Right? Sure, we still upgraded and did the proper process, but if I would have given a customer an SBOM, I would have gotten an earful.
At least log4j exists, but not the vulnerable component of the log4j exists. That is what it was talking in the previous talk about transitive dependencies, like you have a direct dependency which is log4j, but the transitive dependency is a nested dependency, like that is hidden somewhere, we cannot find it. SBOM is not going to deal with it. SBOM is only helps, like for example, any one of you go and ask your product team and your engineering team, your SRE team, your procurement team, your security team, one question. It's going to you get different answers. What are the softwares or languages or libraries used in this particular product? Your product team gives a list. Your SRE team gives different list. Your engineering team gives different list. Your procurement team gives another list. Being a security, you have a different list, right?
That's the problem we're trying to solve.
So I think to your question, right, I think if you have a matured branching strategy, right, you can have a release branch and you can have a security tool scanning a release branch and generating SBOM of that.
Yeah, but again, the SBOM is just saying, hey, I'm using XYZ version. It's not saying I'm using that version and the vulnerable function. That's what reachability is all about these days, right?
That is an existing gap still. Like, even you integrate SBOM with any SCA tools, that is an existing gap.
Actually a solved problem. So nobody uses it, but it's a document called effects. Has anyone? Yeah. So if you've implemented reachability and if your tool can generate the SBOM and the VEX document, then you put them together. Okay. And your VEX will say, here's the actual status of each, is it reachable or is it not? But you have to have them together, because to your point, nobody wants to hand off an SBOM with zero context.
Yes.
Your scanner, if it's doing its job, is picking up everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of noise.
Yes, but still, I think that list is still static. As I know, it is not a seamless thing, right? It only get updated when the build is deployed.
Not necessarily.
Not necessary. So how it is going to read the manifest file of that? To update the libraries, it has to read the manifest file of that code repository. Then only it will know what are the libraries.
So get updated on each scan, and it depends on.
Yes, that's what I said.
Scans happening, but if you have your scans set up to run, for example, if a file has changed, it can do a proactive scan. It's just dependent on your tool setup.
Most of the times, scan get kicked off when the build is deployed. That's how your source code, SAST tools or SCA tools works, right? They're not seamless. Most of time, they work in your CI/CD. When they commit the code, then when they deploy that code, then only it runs. That's how it runs. So that's still, for me, that is still existing gap. Industry did not, I'll say identify a right solution or handy solution we can fix it, but you have to fix from different parts of documentation, tools, and processes and technologies. That is what I felt. There is no single answer to say we can fix it instantly. So AI bomb, the other side. Why I'm talking about SBOM and AI bomb? Because I feel SBOM is going to obsolete soon as we rush ourselves to integrate Gen AI applications, right? That time you have AI bomb. So what is problem or what is the issues with AI bomb? The thing is that developers should have awareness of where this data is getting trained, where this LLM is getting changed, and that's going to help the specific AI ML models, their architecture and versions. It is very important that information on training parameters and methodologies that is used for that model. Without developers tracing the origin and evaluation of that model, we will not be able to trace back when this model was actually changed, right? So AI bomb going to help there. So AI bomb is going to, again, a solution, again, a seamless scanning solution that is going to be coming. So this is going to be critical because it is going to introduce, AI is going to introduce a new set of vulnerabilities and ethical concerns, and which SBOM cannot address now. So how many of you work or did DAST scanning, dynamic application security? Have you ever faced any question from your developers? What is difference between DAST and penetration testing? For them, they both sound like same, right? Because you're gonna scan an application on your pre-production environment, right? So we keep telling to the developers DAST, you scan it, you find a finding, but you're never going to exploit it, right? If you exploit it and you still track after post-exploitation, that's a penetration testing. DAST is mostly done on pre-production environment as per industry standards so that you can make sure that application is refined enough to go to the production, right? So how AI going to improve or enhance? So if you already done DAST scanning, how it works is you have a tool, a DAST scanning tool, okay? Either it is a Bub Suite or Qualys or Rapid7 or Nessus or something else. And you have a web application. You navigate application, you script it, you record that, the end-to-end workflow of that application, give as a input to the tool, so tool can go through that entire workflow as you recorded. For example, you click on username, password, click on login, go inside, and you walk through that application, you do the user input. So your tool is going to do the same thing. It's going to just send the audit parameters, known audit parameters on that particular application in the given workflow by you. So that is the current model. So how AI going to enhance that? Now, AI going to have the scan engines with, the new DAST scan engines going to scan the application, do a intelligence crawling. How many of you actually found issues the modern applications has a lot of microservices, single page applications, and a lot of APIs, complex APIs, right? Your DAST tools are not enough, if you are doing DAST, are you confident enough that your DAST tool is catching everything in your application? That's an existing battle, because I'll tell you a real story. So we have done DAST and we have done SAST and we have given a production sign-off to one of the application. Any of our tool did not find a API that is not intended to expose to the public. And that is found by third-party penetration testing, luckily, not by an attacker. But that was a critical finding, which missed by a DAST application, because DAST cannot do a 100% intelligence crawling, the current existing DAST tools. So AI is going to help discovery, crawling applications in a way that it is going to cover in depth enough that it is going to get that entire crawl map of that application. And very importantly, DAST, current DAST tools don't have any context of that application. For example, you record the workflow of that application, you take that file and give to that tool, it will just scan that. It doesn't understand the context of that application. It works on based on the rules that you provide. Like you say, like, just scan abc.com. It just scan only abc.com. If you give a permission to go subdomains of that application, it goes abc.com / some page, like, text page or some page, right? Search page. So subdomains of that application is only scanned once you give the rule. But AI going to help context-aware scanning, crawling, discovery, and most importantly, reducing the false positives, and also seamless feedback loop and remediation, AI-based analysis, which we were talking about in source code analysis. The current problem with the DAST, the current problem with SAST, you all understand, right? High rate of false positives, lot of duplicates, very slow feedback, right? But here in DAST, we don't have in-depth crawling of that application. We will not be able to explain. If I ask you 100%, do you know how many APIs your particular application that you're dealing today has? How many applications? Can you give the count of APIs that is being used in your application? Just God knows. Even developer doesn't know. Because multiple developers work on a single application most of the time. They use the microservices and APIs, complex built APIs. So they doesn't even count how many APIs and microservices they have been used in that particular application, but AI is going to help in the DAST in that context. Okay, very interesting topic, penetration testing. How many have you done hands-on on your penetration testing of applications? I got you done. So in a traditional way, how long it will take for you guys to test a medium application? When I say medium application, it has 20 web pages, a traditional web application which has login page, after that user inputs, and you have a workflow, 20 web pages. How long it takes?
1 to 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Perfectly takes 2 weeks, because you need to do a lot of stuff manual, semi-automated scanning. You have to do information gathering. After that, you have to scan. After that, you have to send audit parameters. Then you have to exploit. Then you have to document. Finally, convince developer that was a finding, right? So it's going to take 2 weeks at least. So traditional pen test is time consuming, and it is highly dependent on humans, because most of the penetration testing now led by people. You need skilled people in your team, red team or any team you call, purple team, red team, whatever the color. But you need skilled people to run a penetration testing, right? So that AI-powered pen test on the other side, it is fully semi-automated. It takes just minutes and hours to crawl entire application using natural language processing or LLMs, and perform analysis and scanning to the targets and send you the prioritization of the findings. And most importantly, it is cost saving another way. Over the time, if you use the AI augmented penetration testing, it's going to save time. It's going to save money. I don't know how many of you do third-party penetration testing, but most of the applications, right? If you're in a financial or banking or healthcare or insurance, all of your application that is facing external, your clients require to have a attestation not from your team, because they wanted to get attestation from a third party to say that, yes, this application is safe enough to do your business. So the third party pen testing is done by humans, right? By law or by contractual obligations. It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month. But AI augmented pen test on the other side, it take days, and it reduces the dependency, and it reduces the time frame, and also very importantly, insights analysis done through AI is you get detailed report. You don't need to spend time on investigating that finding is valid or not. So this is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted you to work out when you do AI augmented penetration testing. Most importantly, I wanted you to remember which we cannot do with a human-led penetration testing, is behavioral analysis. Do you think we can do behavioral analysis of an application? We cannot do. Only AI can do that. So behavioral analysis of an application, anomaly detection, and target prioritization, and also post-exploitation, right? When you do a manual pen test, as a human, when you do a penetration testing, you exploit a SQL injection. After that, what you do? You just report it, right? You just report it. Developer try to fix it. That's the next step. But in AI augmented penetration testing, post-exploitation, it gives you the post-exploited path. Means saying like, okay, if any sophisticated attacker is able to exploit that particular SQL injection in your external facing application, can go to directly to this database, from this database to this pod, this cluster of that particular cloud, something like that. It gives you the attack path. So you know the lateral movements, right? Attacks never happen instantly, right? It is always the lateral movements that decide the impact. You might think like, okay, we have a SQL injection on my application. So if someone actually attacked that SQL injection, I'm going to lose all the username and passwords in my database. That is so lame. That's not the actual impact. The impact is that after he stole the passwords and then where he all went in our network, that attacker, which places, which servers, which database servers, or which application modules he was able to access. That is the post-exploitation attack paths. That is only possible with AI augmented penetration testing, not with the human-led penetration testing. Because if human wants to decide the lateral movement of an attacker, it's going to take months. By the time application is went to maybe 4/5 versions of different code, right? So that's going to help. So overall, what I wanted to say, AI in application security is going to help greatly developers because they have effective source code reviews with less false positives, less duplicates, and rapid feedback, and less scan times, deep analysis, seamless integrations, and rapid incident responses, and it reduces the dependency. Now developers don't need to sit and wait for application security team to come and explain how to fix a thing because AI already giving the instant fix that is customized for their particular code. So the key takeaways from this talk, I wanted you to work out. I know I'm almost at the time. Okay, you're ready for your happy hour. So I can see you're all tired and exhausted. Okay, so the key takeaway is AI going to improve. If you walk out from this room, I wanted you to remember, AI improved developer experience with application security so that they don't need to hate us. Now they love us because we fix things instantly for them. And AI-powered tools improve detection and responses, which we talked about. Supply chain is going to be top priority. Very importantly, shift left. I was keep talking about shift left. Shift left becomes safety left with AI because you have more than security related concerns. Ethical concerns are the most important for AI, using AI in your application. So safety left is the one primary thing. And we all accepted we are not enough skilled to handle Gen AI applications. So shortage of AI skilled application security engineer exists. I hope that will change in next couple years. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. If you want to connect with me, please connect with me. That's the only social media platform you can find me is LinkedIn. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. And thank you so much. Any questions? Anyone have any final thoughts or feedback on presentation or on my talk? It says it's end of the day. I know. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. Have a good evening. Thank you.